Hey everybody, Dietric Williams, the navigator here to take you from where you are to where you want to be. And welcome to another edition of Info on the Go, the first edition of 2020. So happy new year to you. I want to talk about 8 things that we're going to see in the market as we go through this year. And I'm going to break this up into segments. So I'll do 4 today and then I'll do 4 next week if that's okay. So the first thing that I believe that we're going to see is we're going to take off very rapidly this year. The market is going to go at an accelerated pace.
What was that?
Whatever it is, it's moving faster than anything I've ever seen.
But as we get closer to the end of the year and in the second half of the year, the back half, things are going to slow down drastically. And if you remember, I talked about how the real estate market, it operates in cycles. And in the fourth quarter, it tends to slow down. Well, in 2020, something else is going to cause that slowdown even further, and that is the presidential election. So when we have an election, the market tends to go kind of bonkers, if you will. There's a lot of volatility and uncertainty in terms of what's going to happen in the market. So people back off the market, and consequently, they tend to back off of the real estate market as well, okay? The second thing that we are going to see is sellers are going to start doing a lot of the renovations themselves prior to putting their homes on the market. And the reason for this is the buyers have become really savvy in terms of what it's going to cost them at the end of the transaction. So we're dealing with an affordability issue, which I'll talk about next. And because of that, buyers are accounting the cost of down payment, closing costs, and then what's left over at the end so that they can do the home renovations. So because we're in an affordability issue, this crisis right now is leaving thin margins for buyers to have something left at the end of the transaction to do those renovations. So they're going to kind of force and squeeze sellers to do those renovations, or you'll probably see houses sitting on the market a little bit longer, or price decreases or deductions happening over the course of the year. Now that brings me to the third point. I talked about affordability. And in that, we're going to see a lot of the smaller homes have increased competition from first-time buyers, investors, and downsizing baby boomers. So that increased competition, which leads me to the fourth point, is going to raise prices on the lower end of the market. Again, I spoke about this last year when we talked about supply and demand. When supply is really low and demand is really high, prices tend to increase and vice versa. So you'll see increased pricing on the lower end of the market for some of those smaller end homes that are in high and extreme competition with one another between buyers, first-time buyers to be specific, investors, and the downsizing baby boomers. So those are your 4 for today. I'll come back next week and talk about the remaining 4. I think you'll find that quite interesting. So make sure that you tune in. I want to thank you for watching this edition of Info on the Go. If you liked it, please smash that subscribe button right at the bottom of the page and set your notifications so that you see when the next edition is going to come out and when I air it, okay? Again, I want to wish you a very happy new year. Much prosperity, success to you, and I will see you next time.